Today on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, we are talking about the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer that dropped last night during the Super Bowl. So much stuff to talk about. Don't miss it. All that right after this. Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
And I'm Ashley Coffin.
Ashley, this is a banner day. And normally we do a little chitter chatter at the top. None of that today. None of it. We have got to get into this Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. What did you think?
I loved it. I love that they didn't give too much away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you really have to kind of look through it. It looks great. It looks great. I am not a particularly huge Ryan Reynolds fan, but as Deadpool, I can handle him. So
yeah,
I'm excited. Plus, it looks like a lot of my other friends are going to be here.
Yeah, I think Ryan Reynolds has one mode. It feels like he is just always playing Ryan Reynolds. But that just so happens to line up with Deadpool really well. Like he just somehow is he plays that the merc with the mouth, still has that like goofy heart to him while having just like the snarkiness. It works. I don't know. It works. I think it's a casting like made in heaven. I really think it's great. Yeah,
I made sure to stay away from any kind of stuff, so I got to be surprised that Matthew McFadden was going to be in it, who is just one of my absolute favorites. You know, he's my Mr. Darcy, so yeah, I was thrilled to see him. He just has an amazing voice, so I just love everything he's in. I didn't watch Succession yet. I mean to.
Ooh, man.
It's just pretty far down on the list.
Yeah, him being in Succession is where I know him most from. I think I've seen that version of him as Mr. Darcy, but like I don't. It's not something that stuck in my head. I didn't remember him from it, so I watched Succession, and he has an American accent throughout that entire show. So when I heard him speak in the trailer, I was like, it was weird for me. It was that whole like Tom Holland speaking in a British accent thing for me. Like it didn't. I was like, no, you're the son or the stepson in Succession. You're not stepson, son-in-law. You're not British.
He's like a Benedict Cumberbatch voice. Like his English voice is I guess his real voice. It's powerful. I love it.
Yeah. I'm excited to see because it seems like it'll line up with a good TVA agent really well. Which like, so many headlines. Like I feel like we always come on and we try to like say, what's the most important couple things to talk about at top? And there's just so many things in the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. Firstly, that it's called Deadpool and Wolverine. We didn't know that before. And I think it's an awesome choice. Freaking awesome. It could have been Deadpool 3 with like a slice through it like we've seen. And I think they'll continue to use those logos, but like Deadpool and Wolverine is great. We've talked about it on the MCU cast many times about how cool it would be to start doing these. Like we've talked about having a Captain America and Wolverine movie or a basically just put Wolverine in whatever you want.
Yeah.
or a She-Hulk and Deadpool movie. You know, like all these cool little combos. And we've had it with Ant-Man and the Wasp, but that's not really the same thing. This is taking two different heroes who've had their own movies. They've each had, I think Wolverine's had 3 with Wolverine Origins and Logan, and all the X-Men stuff, of course. And now Deadpool's had 2, and now we're going to get to see a legit team-up movie, not just a Deadpool 3. And I think it's just a good choice. It's a really good choice.
Yeah, agreed. I like what they did with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That was kind of like the first little, they didn't have their own movies, but I was like, yes, can we please do more team-ups?
That's a good call. I've been thinking about Ant-Man and the Wasp was the only option because I've been thinking movies, but you're right. They did do it in the TV shows. And while it wasn't, WandaVision is another one, I guess, if you talk about
it's technically
the movies. Even though he doesn't exist. Spoiler alert.
Yikes. Yeah.
Sorry. If you're joining in on the MCU cast, go watch WandaVision.
You should already know better.
Yeah. We're going to talk about all the things from the MCU. By the way, we are live streaming this, and we're going to do a frame-by-frame watch of the entire trailer. If any of you guys, after the frame-by-frame, have any feedback who are in the live chat, please tag us at Stranded Panda TV, and we will bring that up at the end of the show. Because it's so fresh. Like, even if we do a frame-by-frame, I still feel like we're still going to miss stuff. So, I'm pumped, though. I'm really pumped. The other big, crazy, cool choice I feel like for this is the fact that they are really leaning on the Loki mythos. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, so immediately we have to presume that with where they are at the TVA, it can't be I don't know, Loki's timeline or before he takes the reins. I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out where this kind of takes place.
I'm presuming it's after. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm presuming this is post Loki. I mean, I guess it could be yeah. Well, and we've talked about this a million times, and it's confusing. But since time doesn't exist, or like time runs differently at the TVA or whatever, it doesn't really make sense for it to be before, because that shouldn't exist anymore within the timeline. You know what I mean? That version of the TVA doesn't exist anymore technically.
And it seemed like they were doing better processes for pruning, and these guys seemed pretty ready to be like prune. So I don't know.
Well, I'm very, very curious about that. It seems to me that they're not just wanting to prune him though, because they come to him and like oh
no, obviously that they're not trying to prune him because they want his help, but they looked like ready to go.
They did. I didn't really get a sense of what we talked about it a lot on the finale of Loki, like what are they doing? And to me it seems like in this trailer it seems that they're trying to, instead of trying to just prune universes that shouldn't exist, they're trying to take Deadpool from this universe and bring him to a different universe where he's needed, which is just like something we've never heard of the TVA doing, and that seems cool. It makes me worried that the beginning of this trailer being so like happy ending-ish with all of him and all of his friends, and even some of them that were dead when we last saw them, like Shatterstar, like and obviously he went back and got Vanessa at the end of Deadpool 2, and Shatterstar also, and I'm assuming Brad Pitt is hanging, the Vanisher or whatever it is, is hanging out somewhere in that room. But he seems to be really happy, except there's a little vibe between him and Vanessa that maybe they're not together anymore. Did you get that vibe?
Nope. I'd have to watch it again.
Yeah, and we'll watch it in just a second. But he says, like, the last few years have been kind of hard. They've been good, but kind of hard. And then there's a look between them where she kind of like turns away from him and he kind of like looks longingly at her. It's sort of subtle.
Yeah, maybe.
But then a minute later, she calls him buddy when they're like talking about she's like, what you wishing for, buddy? And it's like, oh, are they not together anymore? Yeah, I don't know. And with time travel, like, were they ever together? Maybe he went back and saved her before they were together and now is trying to like, whatever, convince her that maybe it's that old chestnut, the Gamora chestnut, as it were.
Yeah.
Well, let's watch it one more time real quick and just see if we have anything else before we get into the frame by frame. So the biggest takeaway that I have, like, watching the trailer again is like, it seems to me like a lot of this movie is taking place at the end of time from Loki, like in the void. I think the void they called it, I believe. Mm-hmm. That's just cool. It's like the fact that they are building on the mythos of Loki and like directly going into this movie. And I don't think they will. I think they will explain it in the movie because Deadpool will have to learn about it. So I don't think you will have had to see Loki to understand it. But it seems like they're. We've had a lot of people complaining about how the multiverse or time travel work differently between different movies. But it seems like they're just directly going with like the pruning takes you to this place. You see, there's a little corner of the screen where you see Eliath for a second, the ghost, the smoke monster or whatever. Yeah, I'm so freaking excited for how connected. We've been talking about begging for connectivity, and this is giving us connectivity. I'm just pumped, man.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think we're going to stay there that long. I feel like they're purposely not trying to show us a lot, and they're only showing people what we know. So, because they know people are going to lose their minds when they're like, oh, there's the Eliath, there's the this, there's the that. Because it just sounds like there's way too much to do in this movie, whatever it is that they're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, and it's got me really wondering, what are they trying to do? What is Deadpool's goal? And of course, like, what are they trying to do with the broader MCU by bringing him in? And like, how connected are they going to make these two universes? How many people are going to join him? I got to think that there's some sort of heart of the movie is going to be tied to the fact that he's getting ripped out of his timeline and all these people that he cares about are being left behind. Like, if they're pruning his universe, will he be fighting through the void to save his people that he cares about? Will he be enlisting Wolverine's help to do that? Or will that be a universe he's willing to leave behind and he's just going on a new adventure because, his relationships are strained, like Vanessa or whatever. I'm really curious, what is he going to be looking to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
No clue.
That would be a good reason for him to leave that universe. It's easy. Yeah. That's an easy reason.
Yeah, because prior to now, I never thought he would want to leave. Like, him going to the new universe without Vanessa seemed crazy, but this trailer, like, maybe they're on the rocks. Maybe that gives them an opening for not having to bring her in. Which, not that I want that. I love her character, but I just don't know how many characters are going to want to bring from the Fox universe over. I mean, they literally have in the Void. They have the freaking 20th Century Fox logo. That is just French kiss, just perfect, just absolutely perfect.
Fox is probably so mad.
They've got to be, right? I mean, like, Kevin Feige was instrumental in making that whole universe happen. Like, he was on all those movies as a producer, so it's like he's kind of making fun of himself a little bit here, bringing this all in and being like, "Nope, that universe is gone. We're literally throwing it into the void." I just wonder how much of that you pointed out. You want to point out your find that you saw, or do you want to wait to the comic book on the ground?
Oh yeah, we can. The comic book definitely says Secret Wars.
Yeah, it does.
The one that's laying next to him when he's on the dirt when Wolverine shows up, which is really cool. Yeah.
What does that mean? And like, obviously, it could be a reference to the fact that we're heading towards Secret Wars, which, you know, that's an obvious way of taking it. But I also thought about it another way. We've all been thinking we're heading towards Secret Wars, but they just sent the Secret Wars comic book to the Void. Like, that could be a meta joke about how they're having to change directions because of all the drama and behind the scenes stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Was that the Void? I don't know if that was the Void.
I'm not sure. It just all kind of feels like it's voidish to me because there's just a bunch of different things in the background and different characters and from different timelines and all this. I don't know. It just feels like to me like a lot of the Void is happening. I think at least that's where he's going to get Wolverine from. I don't know. That's just my guess. Like, he's going to get sent to the Void. He's going to collect a team like he did in the last movie, which may just be Wolverine. And then they're going to somehow escape and go into whatever they need to do.
Okay. Yeah. The Void was just had like its own color scheme, and I'd be interested if they're like, oh, there's different parts of the Void or this and that, because it was just so very purple.
Yeah, I agree. In this, it looks like it's snowing in the portion of the Void they're in, which we saw.
Oh, it looked like the desert to. I'm talking specifically about the end scene. Where shows up.
There's also the desert stuff, which I don't know if that's in the Void or that could be. You know, we talked about like in Logan, which is the future of the Fox universe. There's like there's a lot of like desert type environments. They talk about like how the climate has changed and stuff, and like crops are failing, and so like it looks like that sort of post-apocalyptic desert-like world, which also you know feels like Old Man Logan from comics and stuff. So I wonder if they could be in that area of the multiverse somehow.
Right? Did they ever meet in the X-Men one, or I guess they just in Origins? But did they try to like backtrack that movie? Yeah. Because it did look like they were talking to each other like they already knew each other.
Yeah, so they did, like, he makes jokes about Hugh Jackman through the whole Deadpool and Deadpool 2. So there's definitely like Hugh Jackman Wolverine jokes throughout those movies. I can't remember if it's just Hugh Jackman or Wolverine. I don't remember. I'm off the top of my head. But then at the end, when he finally gets the time machine and goes back to fix things from the timelines, one of the things he does, he goes and kills the previous version of Deadpool that was, you know, had his mouth sewn shut or whatever.
Yeah, he didn't even have a mouth. It was so stupid.
Yeah, really stupid. The dumbest decision in like comic book movie history.
It's such a shame because that movie, I loved Liev Schreiber. I'm sorry, I loved Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth. I wish that they would bring him back. I thought he had a great temperament. I thought the two of them worked well together, and they're like, you know what, let's make them brothers. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's a totally different vibe, but I thought even the brothers-ness of it all, having not really cared too much about the comic book version or even the cartoon version of Sabretooth, like he was always just like, oh, that's just one of Wolverine's villains to me. Like I never really knew much about his character, I guess.
Oh yeah, okay.
So for me, I always thought that was a good, compelling thing for those two characters. And I like you said, I like Liev Schreiber. It would be cool if he got a cameo. Which, speaking of, I think it's about time we get to the frame by frame, because that's like, I feel like there's gonna be more in this trailer for sure.
Because we only saw the one.
What do you mean?
Besides Wolverine, there was only one cameo that I saw of somebody I recognized. Besides everybody from the Deadpool movies.
Was it
that we were talking about?
The ancient one? Because that's who I think that is, that you see from behind her head. But I'm not even sure.
Oh, no, it was Pyro.
Oh, right. Pyro. Yes, Pyro. Which, when I first saw him, he is such a different age, and the haircut, I thought it was Wolverine for a second. Or I thought it was Hugh Jackman for a second. Because the hair looked kind of Hugh Jackman-esque, but then, like, he didn't look like Wolverine. He just looked like Hugh Jackman. And I was like, is that another alternate Wolverine? I don't know what's going on. And then,
shoot.
Yeah.
It's been 22 years since X2, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If X-Men came out in 2000.
It was 2002 or 3.
The next one was a year or two later.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's a long,
he still has a little
time.
baby boy face. I have to see it a little more.
Yeah. Okay, Ash, you ready? You ready for the moment of truth?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Frame by frame, babies. Okay. We're gonna go, like, I feel like normally we say frame by frame, but then we kind of don't exactly go frame by frame. We'll kind of like push play when it's just one long shot, but I feel like there's so much in this trailer. We might take our times with this one. We have a Happy Birthday Wade birthday cake with pictures of all of his friends. It looks like all of his friends from the Deadpool 1 and 2. And they're also around the table. A bottle of Jack on the table as well. Of course, that feels right.
He's only one. That's funny.
What?
There's only one candle.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Is that like his first birthday?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because maybe he just got turned into the Deadpool and maybe he's starting over.
Yeah. This is Deadpool birthday. But no, it says Wade. I think that's just like they only bought one candle.
Just put one.
Yeah.
That wig is atrocious. I know it's supposed to be, but oh my God, presidentially atrocious.
Yeah, and the shot of him in the wig is pretty amazing. I think he looks, it's so funny because it makes him look much more normal, but
he looks like Josh Brolin.
Yes, he totally does. I wonder if Cable will be in this. And I'm not wrong. That's Shatterstar, and Shatterstar is dead, right? At the end of...
I think so. I haven't seen the second one in a really long time. I hate to say that, but I haven't.
Like, I think the entire X-Force dies except for Domino, who, like... And I think his buddy, that doesn't have any powers.
War Machine or whatever.
Well, they're not...
Did she die too? Her and
No,
Yuki, or?
No. They don't, but they're not in the X-Force. He puts together a team that does not include Colossus, Kamiko, is that her name? And then
Kamiko, goddamn.
Kamiko, and then Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah.
Cool. Look, let's see if we look behind. We get a shot of Shatterstar, Colossus, and Dopinder, right?
Sure.
and then behind them, there's some comic book panels, and I wonder. I'm sure some eagle-eyed comic book fan is.
Does it look like boobs up there? And it's up to me.
I wouldn't put it past this movie for sure.
Top left of
the screen, or
maybe
top
I just see boobs everywhere.
I think those are just people kissing. Maybe is what I see, but
it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. This is apparently a Rorschach test. You see boobs. I see people kissing. Then we get Negasonic.
She's so cute,
and Kamiko, so cute. And his roommate Al, Big Al, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm forgetting who the guy with the beard is. Do you remember who the guy with the beard is?
I want to say he worked at the bar, and I don't think they're bringing TJ Miller back, so I think they have him representing his like bar friends.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I can't remember 100%. I feel terrible. I should have watched.
Yeah, we should have watched that movie again before we did this trailer reaction.
We're super professional.
Oh, wow. Is that Vanessa behind him?
It looks.
There's a shot here of him holding his face, and there's Vanessa, and he's saying it's been a challenging year for sure, few years for sure. I think this might be
her breaking up with him.
Her breaking up with him, and then it cuts to them at the party together.
If I bring you back from the dead after time traveling and doing all that stuff to find you, and you break up with me, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, I mean, but really, would you if he wore that wig? I mean, like, I feel like...
Would I get back with him?
Sorry.
I don't know. I was hoping that the wig was like her choice to make that face a little bit better to deal with.
Oh, gosh.
I'm into gimp suits, though, so I'd be like, can you just wear the suit all the time? Rated R content. I don't want to hear it about your children.
All right. It is
I've seen so many people being like, my 12-year-old is so upset they can't go see this. And I'm like, F those kids.
What is he holding a picture of there? I can't see. Oh, it's the picture from the cake.
Oh, that's cute.
And that's his buddy. I'm forgetting the buddy's name too. The guy who like
Peter?
That's it. Peter. Just Peter. Oh, so good. The Deadpool movies are so good. I can't wait to rewatch in preparation for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Which we will do, I think. We might even make it in our Infinity Saga rewatch and just put them where they go.
Okay.
That could be cool. Okay, we're just we're going through these frame by frame, but there's not much happening. He blows out the candles, blowing, and then there's a knock at the door, and we see TVA agents for the first time in the MCU, like coming to get Deadpool.
I know.
Different look.
I grabbed Ken. I was like, ah. He said, "What?" I was like, "It's the TVA," and he was like, "No way!" It is exciting.
It really is. But they look a lot different in this than we've seen in the past.
Look different.
Which, I'm sure there's different
Maybe
teams
it's another
stuff.
like Dimensions TVA or something, or I guess they would be
right. Well, that's the whole thing. Is like we've talked about it a bunch of times, but like, is there only one? Because the TVA can see all the timelines, so you would presume there's one TVA, but there could be all kinds. We really don't know. There could be multiple TVAs, especially with all the shenanigans that went on in Loki season 2.
Did they give Michael McFadden or Faden's character a name yet? Or wouldn't I would die if he was like, I'm Mobius. And it's like that version's Mobius.
Yeah. Okay. So then we get to he makes a wonderful pegging joke about how it's not new for me, but it is for Disney.
Yep. Explain pegging to your children now.
Really, really good. And I love that he grabs the wig off of him. It
there is
no
nothing
sense.
I love more in this entire world than a wig rip.
It just makes no sense from like they're taking him through the portal, which is very similar animation.
Like, ew.
And then he grabs the wig off. I guess maybe he's trying to pull his hair and then realize, but that doesn't.
I don't know what he was trying to do.
That's clearly a wig. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, so that's the opening scene that I think will be probably the opening sequence of the movie itself, if I had to guess. Like that will probably be a lot of what they do. And then we get to Deadpool sitting in front of Matthew McFadden's character, and there's like stuff coming out of Deadpool's head right here.
It looks hair? Like hair, like the glue from the wig or something like that is still stuck on him.
Yeah, it does. Well, there's one in the back that almost looks like metallic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on here.
Oh, I'm so in love with him. That was that part of Barbie that I always tell you when they bring up Pride and Prejudice. I was like, oh, that's me. They're talking about he's my Darcy. I know I love the miniseries and I love the Colin Farrell one, but for Michael McFadden, for me, I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. You can be mean to me and talk down to me all you want and I'll still marry you.
So we see that scene between McFadden and Deadpool. There's really not much in the background of that scene. It's very sparse. And very TVA. I love that they maintain the like basic visual language of the TVA. Now this is interesting. There's a shot here of a Deadpool uniform in a locker, and he is sitting here with a blue shirt. Can we tell what his name tag? Well, let me see if I can turn these subtitles off. Okay.
It just says Wade.
It says Wade, and there's some really tiny words at the bottom that I cannot. I can't even on my higher quality YouTube window, I can't really see. So I don't know what this is. Is this him before he gets taken by the TVA, or is this the TV? Like, I think this must be before the TVA. Like, maybe he's doing a job while he's like, maybe he gave up his Deadpooling or something, and he's like working, just living with his friends or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. That's a weird moment. I don't know where that fits in with the whole theme.
All the lockers look like they were filled with the same blue outfit that he was wearing.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's like a a janitor, or not like a custodial.
I just realized what that would mean, and that means that like he gets to work in his Deadpool outfit and changes into his blues, whatever store. Like it's a Best Buy or whatever. He's getting to Best Buy and like changing out of his Deadpool uniform to go to work. That's really, really funny.
Yeah.
We get to this. Then it cuts to a shot of him in the snow.
Did you immediately think it was going to be the beginning of Age of Ultron? I thought that's where he was going to be.
Well, I didn't immediately think it, but then some people posted, people posted that in the Stranded Panda chat, and I actually think it's a really good call. The trees in the snowy scenes look so much like the Age of Ultron battle from the beginning. And then they show that battle when Matthew McFadden right here is telling him to like join a universe of heroes or whatever he says.
Right. The only reason I backtracked that a little bit, and when we get further there, we'll have to look closer, is that it looked like Pyro was there in the snow. So that would have been a little different.
Oh,
but who
see,
knows?
I thought Pyro was in the
was he in the
desert
I don't
area?
know. We'll get there.
He looked like
I'm getting ahead of myself.
I have a feeling there's going to be Mad Max jokes in that whole like sequence, because Pyro is like sitting on some sort of big thing, and then below him there's like a dude in like a Bane mask. It looks like.
Well, I wonder if they're still going to have them be like the Brotherhood of Mutants, and they're just like the bad guys.
Ooh, that could be neat. That could be really neat.
So we have Ultron, Ragnarok up there, right?
Yes. Ultron, okay. Shots from Ultron, 2 shots from Ultron and a shot from Ragnarok. Both of the first 2 shots from Ultron, though, are from the scene we're thinking that could be in that forest, the snowy forest. So, like,
right.
Let's say he escapes into a timeline and he goes into one of the ones that's pulled up somehow. You know what I mean? And he ends up there. That could be so cool. And there's a scene in a minute where it's a bunch of TVA agents fighting him in the snow. So, like, let's say he uses this scene, which is so amazing that it looks so much like the TVA. I'm so blown away by how well they captured the TVA.
They probably had the same sets up.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I don't see much of the same exact sets, but very similar. Like the ceiling looks so TVA-ish, but I've never seen this control panel before, you know?
Right.
We've got a scene from Winter Soldier where Cap is fighting Batroc the Leaper. Are they all 3 Winter Soldier scenes?
I can't see what the middle one is specifically, but the other 2 definitely are.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that middle one is it being intentional. Oh no, okay, it's Cap coming into view.
It's the shield.
Yeah, so this all looks like shots from Winter Soldier. I think that might be when he jumps out of the Triskelion, maybe? No, because in that one he lands on his side. I don't know what that's
maybe when he was jumping off of the out of the elevator and he uses the shield to land on that little Quinjet. Yeah,
that's a different. In that one, he lands on his side. That's the thing I was thinking too. But he lands on his side, all balled up. Yeah, he does.
Okay, he doesn't have his mask on in that scene.
So I'm not sure where that jumping Cap is from, the middle screen. So yeah, Matthew McFadden, just for the audio listeners, if you're listening to this in audio and you want to see us watch along with us as we talk about these scenes, we are on youtube.com/strandedpanda. I always mean to say that before we start, but I didn't today.
It's just a lot of eyebrows and eyes as I start to get
yeah. What is that? Okay, then we get to a desert scene. And yeah, this is what was making me think Mad Max. We've got some sort of like convoy of vehicles. But then this shot, do you think this is the ancient one? This looks like the ancient one to me.
Yes.
I can't see what's in the background.
You know, it's funny, when I watched it last night, even again now, I just for a second thought it was a Skrull. But no, that is definitely the ancient one.
I think it looks like the ancient one. But no offense to the actress who plays
Tilda knows what she looks like in that movie.
Tilda has some ears that are reminiscent of the Skrulls in that moment.
Well, is there a scarring on the head? Because she has that circle thing.
I can't see. I can just see the outline of her head.
Yeah.
Or their head. I can't see what
is that?
The ancient one.
Maybe it's a new bad guy.
Possibly. It looks to me like it's the ancient one, and those doors look like something that would be at Carmitage or something like that, like a mystical place.
Cool.
And yeah, I'm not sure though. And this could all be things in the void. It could be all kinds of stuff mixed together. We really don't know. And then we cut to Deadpool sitting in some sort of, I don't know, like a dungeon or a castle. Teeth? Yeah, I was gonna say like some sort of big monster teeth in the front foreground of the shot. So I don't know where Deadpool is ending up here.
That's crazy.
Then we cut to some sort of like almost like James Bond style casino scene.
Yeah. I love that you can't miss Logan's hair. And that's what I just love it.
Yeah.
I love that Hugh Jackman came back so much.
Could that be an Avengers logo in the background of the casino scene? Like, see back to the right, it kind of has half an Avengers logo look, but maybe not.
Oh yeah, I see it.
It's just so cool that we're finally getting a Deadpool movie where like, yeah, the Avengers could show up and it would be no thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so over here on the right,
anybody.
I'm not recognizing anybody yet, but over here, then we get like I'm pretty sure that's Logan's, the background of back of Logan's head, but to the left there's someone who looks quite furry, and that could be Beast or some other furry hero or villain.
Maybe blue, but maybe that's just the screen.
Yeah, he doesn't look blue enough, but yeah, I could see that being a Beast or something like that. I'm gonna feel bad.
Maybe a Nightcrawler.
Ooh, yeah.
Bring back Alan. What is it? Alan Cummings?
Yeah. I believe you're correct. And this is the best line of the trailer, I feel like, or at least one of them. I'm the Messiah. I am Marvel Jesus. I see what you're telling me. I am Marvel Jesus.
So I'm so interested to see where that's coming from. Is that him breaking the fourth wall and talking to us about being Marvel Jesus? Is Matthew McFadden calling it Marvel? Who's calling it Marvel?
I think it's just
told him it's Marvel, you know?
I think that's him. I don't think it's anyone else.
Yeah.
He says
then is what's his face going to be like Marvel?
Well, he does that kind of stuff all the time where he talks about things that people don't know and they just always ignore him. So I think like it's one of those things that he either just seems insane to them or, you know, or he's saying it in a way that they don't actually hear it or whatever. Because he says it directly to the screen. He looks directly into
that looks like hair for sure on the side.
Where?
Hanging off of, the things hanging off of his head.
Oh yeah, you
see a little tuft of hair
for sure.
That's so funny.
And then we have this shot of him getting suited up, and I love the reaction of him saying Marvel Jesus to Matthew McFadden. The look on his face is amazing. Matthew McFadden's like, no,
that's a nice tie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this scene made me laugh because that looks like a production guy to me, like somebody who would be working in the backs of the thing, getting everybody ready, slapping it on his ass. I was like, oh my god, this is totally costume.
This is a shot of him getting suited up, but he seems to be getting a lot of help from these white gloved people, like white glove service in getting ready to re-enter whatever multiverse. Someone zips his pants. I think that was his front. I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Right? Is zipping his fly, and then the belt, of course, being snapped, and someone smacking his booty twice. 2 booty smacks.
2 different angles. One of those was me.
And in the background, we have I can't read it, but we have a classic looking TVA poster, which is pretty fun.
Like clothing, different clothing.
It is different clothing, and so I think it's this is the costume department for the TVA.
Yeah, look, there's clothes all around.
Yeah. This is still where he's getting suited up. So I think this must be like where the TVA suits up, but it's just kind of cool that they're suiting up Deadpool. And then someone just straight up grabbing his crotch. That's pretty great. Okay. And then the elevator at the TVA, him in full split mode.
I do love it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, huh!
I do too. Yeah, it's just good. It's just good. Him just getting ready to go to battle in some way into some universe, but it's like, it's great. Okay. And this is where, here's where we're back to Snowland. And
that has to be, look at the sideways truck in the back. It has to be.
Yeah, I think you're right. I really think you're right.
Sokovia, right? That was all in Sokovia,
that was all in Sokovia.
Smush.
This,
and I live for these kind of action sequences when he's reloading. Oh my god.
So that's all in Sokovia, but this again, we're back. The 20th Century Fox logo appears to be in the desert, and we also have
the desert.
We have in the background of the 20th Century Fox logo, we have a UFO back there, which is very
that looks like that
reminiscent.
thing that got swung around in a later scene by somebody. You'll see.
Okay.
It might be. But it could also be a UFO.
Oh god, these like CGI. I'm assuming they're CGI. Loads of the gun looks so good.
That's so cool. If he could actually do that in real life, I'll give Ryan Reynolds 10% more accolades.
Yeah, I have a feeling if it's actually happening, it's probably not him.
And it looks good. But I love it. I live really, for the action.
Okay, then it looks like maybe a helicopter in the background, and then some sort of little like structure.
Is that the Eiffel Tower? What is this? Where are we?
I think this is an Eiffel Tower. I think
you see that's like broken down. Like I wonder if we're in some weird.
This is the void. This has got to be the void.
It's got to be the void.
Got to be the void.
So did like Logan and the whole Fox? Is that what it's telling us? Is that they sent the whole Fox thing to the void?
I'm not sure, but it seems very possible. And like especially if he goes to the void and he has to like look for his people or whatever, you know, if they came and pruned his timeline like they used to do. The TVA used to do, like they could have pruned them and sent them all to the void. And this is where I'm thinking, like this is where the scenes where Pyro's about to be, I believe.
Right.
But this is the part that interests me most about this whole thing. We're in the void. We've discussed on the cast what happened to Eliath. Like, was he gone? Did they defeat Eliath when they got past him to get to the Citadel? And it appears right there. That's Eliath eating a TVA agent, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Which is just cool, man. It's so freaking cool because they're using the same visual language. They're doing everything. This is Eliath eating a TVA agent at the end of time. I love it so much. And among some sort of weird Mad Max style, like whatever
circus motorcycle place.
Yeah, probably.
It looks like
Brotherhood
those balls
of
that you drive the motorcycles in.
Totally does. I really do think it's likely Brotherhood of Mutants or something like that. That like, yeah, we're seeing just like we saw Loki go to the void and have to kind of meet up with other Lokis. I think we're going to see a lot of X-Men and stuff. Okay, now what is going on here?
So does that look like a Eliath skeleton?
No, that is a one of the Chitauri things in the background.
So maybe that's what the teeth are that he was in earlier.
There's also, it appears to, no, those were much smaller, I think. That was like in that little cove. But that look, I don't know where that is, but that could be in the same area. I really don't know. But that looked like teeth that were maybe like large bear sized or something, not necessarily that sized. But I don't know. Maybe could have been a perspective thing.
Oh, it looked like a dragon mouth to me.
Yeah, it absolutely could be. And then you've got this guy again. This just gives me Mad Max vibes with the guys standing. Oh wait,
go back. Is that a Quinjet or is that what are those things called?
That looks like a helicarrier.
Helicarrier, yeah.
Yeah. So we had a helicarrier kind of alluded to in Deadpool 2, but now we're getting this actual.
And it's a helicarrier and the Chitauri. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Void, man. We saw it in Deadpool. I say we saw it in Deadpool. We saw it in Loki. They could just grab anything from anywhere. But this, to me, so I don't think the snow is the Void. Whatever's happening in the snow appears to be like on a timeline. And if he's joining the MCU, I feel like that timeline is going to be during Age of Ultron. I really do.
It's interesting that he's killing TVA agents.
Yeah, so here's what I think the structure of this. Like, it's seeming more and more like it's the resist the call thing. Like, they bring him in to like convince him to come work for them, and then he escapes onto a timeline, which is likely either Age of Ultron or something that looks a lot like it. And he has this big fight in the snow with, all these TVA agents, and then eventually gets brought back in or decides to come back in, and then the rest of the stuff, or he gets pruned, like they just capture him and prune him, and he ends up in the Void.
Yeah, in the Dust World.
Yeah, and the Dust World is all part of the Void. I that's what I'm thinking so far, but who knows? So I think that's why he's fighting TVA agents. That's him like getting done with the TVA. And man, these shots look cool.
Mm-hmm.
And they juxtapose the shots of him with swordplay in the snow world with him. Using knives in the Dust Bowl world. And
lots of guns.
Great shot of Deadpool's hands with some like semi-automatic whatever guns.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing about guns.
Mask face guys, these metal faces.
Yeah. You saw that Secret Wars comic book. When I first saw the mask, I thought it looked Doom-like.
Me too. And I'm like, I want them to bring him in, but I don't know if I want it in Deadpool because he's too. I want it to be serious when it's time for Doom.
Well, and presenting Doom for the first time in Deadpool would be tough because you really would want to focus on it a lot. But there's going to be so much to do in this movie that I don't know that there's time for that.
Right.
But who knows? Surprise me, Marvel. Do something cool. We got this cool shot of him in the car, blood everywhere, which reminds me of the first fight scene in the first movie when he's doing that car fight scene.
What is that car even doing there? That looks like the woods.
Yeah. That could. Yeah, you're right. That's interesting.
Because they were like battle jeeps there. But that looks like a,
yeah, just a car.
A Windstar SUV.
Yeah, I have no idea. Of course, we could have all kinds of different environments in the void. It just seems like a lot of it seems to happen at this sort of desert Mad Max style world. Then we get our shot of Pyro, which I did not recognize him at all. It was Jay Scotty last night who brought it up. Like, that's Pyro. And I was like, oh, I had no idea.
I would have to ask him how if you didn't look that up, that guy doesn't look anything. Like, it's been 25 years.
Yeah.
How did you know that?
I don't know.
From a second.
I don't know. And he's got a guy with a weird, metal mask on in front of him. He says, God, I love this part. I'm assuming they're, trying to feed him to Eliath or something like that. When he's, But wait. I'm talking about how the TVA agents are all in the snow part, but we also saw a TVA agent get eaten by Eliath. So that means there are TVA agents in the void section of this movie as well.
And it looked like they had him captured because that TVA agent had, chains on.
Yes. Oh, maybe the TVA agent is being fed to Eliath by these guys.
Them.
Interesting. That feels like a Pyro thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And it would make sense the way that the other Lokis were able to survive in the void, that you'd have these powerful superheroes or villains who are able to create their own posses and keep things,
absolutely
kind of going.
Absolutely. We saw it with Loki. And so I think we can absolutely see it with these guys too. And this is, that in the background there is the same UFO, and it makes sense because he hits that same Fox logo when he gets busted, when Deadpool busts through this wall.
I wonder if that's even going to be in the movie, or they just put that in for the trailer.
It's a really good question. I don't know. It's very funny either way. I hope it's in the movie. So it makes it appear, just based on the logic of the trailer, he flies to that thing and lands, and then it shows him here on the ground. But we saw him land on the 20th Century Fox logo. So this is probably a different scene. And this is where you noticed, which killer eye, Ash, killer eye.
Oh, thanks.
The Secret Wars comic there on the ground, which, if you zoom in on it, it does appear to say Secret Wars.
Which, again, I wonder if that's going to even be in the final cut.
Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. It's so funny. We always say, we talk about how Marvel has lied to us in the past. But this movie just feels like they could be lying. That everything could be a lie. You could know nothing.
Yeah.
We know nothing, Jon Snow.
I love this shot.
It's really good. Really good. Hey, you gonna help me up? He calls him an ape, I think.
Oaf or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Don't just stand there, you ape. Give me a hand, and then you see the claws come out. Really, really gorgeous. Nope, never mind.
Yeah, I'm not good.
I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Deadpool and Wolverine. I think that's it, right?
I think so. Yeah, there wasn't an extra little.
Yeah. So that's our frame by frame. I don't know, man. Now that we've seen it frame by frame, I don't feel like we missed much. What do you think now? Is there anything differently you're feeling about the trailer now?
Not too different, because I honestly don't think they're giving us too much to go off here, which is fun.
Yes.
But I think you might be right about them breaking up, because then it'll make it easier for him to leave that world. Or maybe he's coming back at the end. They're like, oh, go do this thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that I'll agree with that. But other than that, no, I don't think, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right about the possible breakup. I think Like it allows him an out. It allows him a reason, because they had this like forever love that in the second one they're like fighting. He's like seeing her in his dreams when he's close to death and stuff. It's that whole. It was their interpretation, I think, of him being in love with Lady Death in the comics. Like he's having those like dream sequences where he's in love with his Vanessa, who's already passed, you know. And so those were really beautiful scenes, and it just felt to me like it would be weird if he has any other motivation but to love her, because their love felt so like real and like his whole motivation for the last two movies. So it felt weird that he would just move on to join the MCU. But yeah, I think like with this,
it's been a couple years.
Yeah, that's true. He does say he's been a tough few years. But I didn't know how he was including that. Like, was he talking about like from the time he became Deadpool? Because yeah, that would be a tough few years. Or is he talking about, you know, he's also talking about her dying? Like all that stuff could be part of that tough few years. I really don't know. Or is it just like a tough few years since the last movie and them sort of getting, you know, to move on or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think the biggest thing, I guess, from the frame by frame, and we've talked about it, but the idea of the structure of the movie, which seems like they're going to have some sort of, I'm really feeling like Age of Ultron is where we're going. Like, and how cool would it be if they really got like the Avengers, like some of the Avengers or all of them back from like Age of Ultron, like the height of the Avengers as a team, and they get to face off with Deadpool for a minute, like as he's like infecting the timeline.
I refuse to let myself get excited that that's what's going to happen, because I don't think the actors wouldn't. I don't know. That would be the best kept secret if they did it. I don't think it would. I think that would make everybody so happy. So I can't get my own hopes up about that. Yeah,
that's a good point. It's a good point. We don't want to overhype these ideas we were thinking, but like. And all we're really seeing is that, well, I mean, all we're really seeing is that it's a snowy landscape with trees. Like it could be a different snowy landscape with trees, but it does like weird that they show it right next to Matthew McFadden showing him clips of it. So I don't know. I don't know, man.
It even had like the same, the cars in the background, like the battle had already happened there or something.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, let's see what we have going on in the chat. See what a few people are saying. Karen Thomas says the casino type place with Logan could be Madripoor, because I'm sure old Logan goes there in comics. Yeah, I think definitely Madripoor would be a good call. If it's on the timeline at all, like if it's not like another void place where he's got to visit.
Yeah, it looked a little too clean cut to be what what I see Madripoor as, like from the comics and stuff, or even what we saw in Falcon and Winter Soldier. But who knows what they're going to do? Yeah,
it seemed like Madripoor had like highs and lows, because it definitely had like seedy vibes. But then that place that Sharon Carter was staying was like a nice loft apartment that looked pretty nice. So I don't know. It could be that there's like, you know, upper crust gangsters that live in big fancy hotels or whatever, and then there's like the riffraff that you know they all have to deal with. Yeah, I don't know. We have Jess Kamai. Jess says, is the tough few years a meta commentary of COVID or superhero fatigue? Ooh.
Both.
I think that's a really good call. And it could also just be a meta commentary on what a lot of I think the meta commentary of like him being Marvel Jesus is the fact that we have had a couple of tough years when it comes to Marvel movies, you know, like a tough phase of, I wouldn't say the movies and TV shows have been bad, but definitely the press around the MCU has diminished since Endgame.
Yeah.
And so maybe he's saying we've had a tough few years, but Marvel Jesus is here to save us all. And,
has any movie made $1 billion? What was the last movie to make a big old bill?
I'm not sure if anything since Endgame's made $1 billion. No Way Home. I'm sure.
I was going to say, I'm sure one of them Spider-Mans.
Yeah, I'm certain No Way Home did, and maybe Far From Home probably did too. But we were looking at it. Even the Deadpool movies, which seem to have done really well, made in like the 700 to 800 range. We were looking at it last night on Multiverse News, sort of like, could this be the next $1 billion superhero movie? And what I said on Multiverse News last night was like, if this one doesn't make $1 billion, I don't know what will. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's hard. So Endgame was the last one.
Oh,
so
okay.
It has to be like for people to come out in the billions, we need like an Endgame level kind of thing. And this is going to be rated R. So I don't know if they're going to hit the big B.
Well, you say that, but like before Endgame, like there were Thor movies that made a bill, right? Like there were, I know like comic book movies were making $1 billion pretty commonly. Like I remember Aquaman made $1 billion. Like there were a lot of $1 billion franchises back then. And it seems like that $1 billion movie stuff has kind of dried up. So now it's like, what do you need to do to see $1 billion movie now?
So it looks like it was only about 12 of them.
Okay.
I hope. Well, Deadpool's on there. You said you looked it up and it didn't?
Maybe, you know what? Maybe I looked at domestic or something. It said 700 million.
Oh, okay.
But
so
that might have been
across
domestic.
everything, like it's got Spider-Man, Raimi's Spider-Man. Apparently Ant-Man made $1 billion.
See, that's what I mean. Like that era at post Phase 2 era, like post Winter Soldier, like Marvel was so popular that things were making $1 billion left and right. It felt like, or at least getting really close to $1 billion.
Okay, so it looks like there was 10.
Okay,
it was the Avengers, it was Iron Man 3, and this is an order of how many. I think that what they made the most of is Avengers 2, Captain America: Civil War. It was Black Panther. Infinity War made $2 billion. Barf.
Wow.
Captain Marvel made $1 billion, and then Endgame made $2.8 billion. Oh wait, there's still more. Spider-Man was $1.3 billion, so it's not in order. And then Spider-Man: No Way Home was the last one to do a bill.
And it did $1 billion just
1.92.
Whoo, almost a 2. Dang.
Big time.
Yeah. I knew that No Way Home did really well. And I mean, like, that's why one of the things we were reporting on is on Multiverse News. Apparently, there's like one of the things they're trying to figure out what to do with the next Tom Holland movie, and like a lot, MCU people want to just go with like, yeah, we're gonna make a stripped down Spider-Man movie because the movie ended with him being like street level Spider-Man, and then but apparently like execs at Sony are like, but we want to make another team up movie with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. And it's like, no, you already did that. You can't just keep doing that. It's not going to be the same. You can't make another $2 billion by just putting them three in a movie together again.
Sit down, Sony.
Yeah, not a good idea. But they've got to come to an agreement about it, It's going to be...
people, we are ready for the street level. We want a Daredevil Spider-Man.
Yes.
So just give us what we want.
Dude, and that's the thing. I think a Daredevil and Spider-Man, especially you bring Punisher into that and Kingpin, all these characters, like you bring that Defenders MCU into a Spider-Man movie, I think you could get another $2 billion. Like you really could. It would be freaking awesome. Okay. Last thing, one of our patrons, Timothy Castillo, wrote us and said, between the recent Daredevil news, the Deadpool trailer, and the general upswing of the MCU in the last few months, I just kind of feel like I need to say, in the words of Lieutenant Commander Data, yes! Sorry, Star Trek reference, everybody. But that's from Star Trek Generations, when Data has his emotions chip, and they win a battle, and it pans across the whole screen of all the stoic officers, and he's just gotten his emotions for the first time, and he's like, yes! Funny scene. Yeah. Thank you, Timothy. Let's see. Anybody else in the chat post anything? No. Okay, cool. Well, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. Like, my excitement level for the MCU keeps going up. Like, every couple weeks, they're doing something big that's getting my excitement level to ratchet up more and more. What If was great. Loki was great. Echo was great. This trailer, I don't know. I'm just like that. They're 4 for 4 over the last like 3 months, and I am just like floored about it.
Yeah, I'd probably watch if they drop one more, because this was kind of like more of a teaser, I would say, than it's long, but I would still say it was a teaser. If they do one more trailer, I'd watch it, but then after that, I think I'm done.
Yep, I think this is like that 5 months away trailer. Then there's always like that one that's like 2 months away, and that's where I stop. Like I don't ever like to watch them past that. So we will not be as informed after that one, because I'm sure they'll be dropping all kinds of crazy scenes, but we don't like to get into that.
Yeah, no, don't send us leaks. We don't like that.
Yeah, we're not trying to spoil ourselves. Well, my lovely pandas out there in Pandaville, thank you for listening to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. Ashley, you got anything you want to tell the people about?
Sure. We actually just finished recording this weekend. We are going to be covering Dune over on Bingers Assemble. So we just did the first one. We're going to see the second one, and then we are going to talk about the David Lynch and the what could have been the Alejandro Jodorowsky one. Ooh. And then we have our Oscars coverage, which we're almost done all 10 movies. So that's over on Bingers too.
Yeah, so Bingers Assemble, that's awesome. And check out her other show, Bill and Ashley's Terror Theater.
Yeah,
always dropping that.
I think we're doing The Witch next. So if you've seen Robert Eggers' The Witch, definitely watch that to rewatch with us. If you haven't, go watch it. It's probably one of my favorite horrors of the last 5 years to come out, probably top number one. So yeah, go give that a watch, and we are going to really deep dive into that movie.
Yeah. Oh man, that's super exciting. All right. I'm over on Multiverse News, so check that out. I'm also doing the Bingers Assemble coverage. We did an episode. We spent like 6 minutes talking about this trailer, but we also talked about the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes trailer, the Wicked trailer, the Twisters trailer. So we're just
I cannot believe I didn't even go watch that. I was like, and I love that guy.
Oh,
but I was like, are we serious right now? Is she supposed to be? Is anybody supposed to be related to the Helen Hunt Bill Paxton?
Yeah. So we think Jay Sisson says. I'm not sure, but the female protagonist is their daughter, maybe, or at least her daughter. So we're not even sure.
100% is. Like, I don't even need to watch the trailer. All I saw was that little, like, come watch it on this thing, since we're not going to pay for the ads anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you gotta. It's smart because it's like you pay $7 million for the 30 seconds, and then you're like, hey, we got a full 3 minutes over there, but we're not paying. What would that be? 3 minutes for $7 million every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oof. I'm content that they do that. I like it.
Yeah, it's new. But it's like when I'm watching it, I want to watch the trailer. Like the Deadpool one, I was like, oh, I have to go watch this somewhere else now. I'm in the middle of watching this game, but I'm obviously going to stop the game to go watch that. It was the only trailer I was like, I'm going to go stop and watch this.
Yeah.
These Planet of the Apes movie, I'm like, do we really need another one? I'm like, okay. I just don't like watching them fight each other. It makes me sad.
Oh, I haven't caught up on this most recent trilogy of movies, so I'm excited because I'm mostly excited because Jay Scotty loves them, and I trust his opinion, and so like
and not mine.
No, like
wow, okay.
Sometimes me and him have some similar tastes, and also I just absolutely love the old '60s movies, Planet of the Apes. So like, there's something in this new trailer that makes me think they might be going the way of the '60s movies. And I'm excited to see if that happens or if that's true. Because one thing about the 60s movies, they had a little more like sci-fi, like time travel and like cool paradoxes and stuff like that. And the new movies have just sort of been like apes
on horses. That's what we call these movies.
Yeah. Yeah. And you gotta love apes on horses. You gotta love it. All right. Well, we'll be back soon, guys, with more Marvel. Lots of good stuff. I think we're going to be covering Madam Web this week. So I'm excited about that. Even though
by we don't mean me.
No, I don't think Ashley's going to join me for that. But I will be covering Madam Web on our Friday episode. So we'll make sure to do a non-spoiler section. So if you don't want spoilers, because you're not going to go see it, you can come see if you should see it. And I will be honest, I promise. I'm more excited for the Sony stuff than anyone else is, I think.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Yeah, I'm down, man. I'm down. It's we got a lot of time till Marvel's releasing much, and I'm like, yeah, give me some other Marvel Cinematic Universe for a little while. Marvel Sony-matic Universe.
Yeah. It's just the casting of everybody. They just took the hottest chicks that they're in Hollywood right now, and they're like, throw them in a sexy stoop, boop their boobs up, give them some big hair, and she's Jessica Drew or whatever. I'm just like, get out of here, Sydney Sweeney. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm with you. I do think that like in general, the Sony casting is a little more. I don't know how to what word I'm looking for. I want to say the word pedestrian, but that's not really what I mean. Like, you cast people because they're perfect for the role and they're perfect for the movie you want to make, or you cast people because they have the most buzz and they're hot. And there's like some studios don't seem to know the difference. And they just like, I don't know. And I do think Sony has a little bit of that in their repertoire where they're just like, yeah, this is a hot actor right now. Just cast him. And it's like,
just throw her in there. Yeah.
But I do think, I think like some of the stuff they've been doing since the last Spider-Verse movie, they did some cool stuff that like fixed little plot holes the other Sony movies had. And it like made me think somebody over there is paying attention to the fact that there were little plot holes through the different movies. And that made me feel like, okay, someone's paying attention to the Sonyverse and trying to do it. And I think back to like the early days of the MCU, and it's like, I think The Incredible Hulk is bad. Like, I think it's a bad movie. And I think Thor is, I really like Thor. I like the introduction of Thor. I like the first half of Thor. Like the introduction of the brothers and like their conflict. I think the last half of Thor is kind of shit. And like, it's like there's the very beginnings of the MCU, Iron Man and Captain America are amazing. And so it's like the very beginnings of the MCU, they had a lot of missteps. And it wasn't until you really got them all in the same room and started showing what these characters could do together that we had things like Phase 2, which is I think where Marvel really hit its stride. So like maybe the Sony-matic universe is like, I'm coining that now. Maybe there is room for that universe to become something. And so I'm just like, I'm cautiously optimistic, and I agree. This one looks particularly like it was cast to just have the prettiest people in it. You know,
we'll see if what's her face is just not the best actress. So I want to. I'll be interested to hear and eventually see what the casting directors saw that they're like, yeah, she's our Madam Web.
Yeah,
because I love Madam Web, and she just doesn't seem like she has the pizzazz. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe this director will bring something out in her that I haven't seen any other director be able to.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we'll be back soon, guys. See you guys on Friday with some Madam Web content. And hey, patreon.com/MCUcast if you want to join the Patreon. It helps out a lot.
We love you, patrons.
We love you, patrons. Thank you. Peace.
Until next time, true believers.
Hey, you just listened to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast from Stranded Panda. I really hope you liked it. Let me just say a big thank you to all of our supporters on patreon.com/MCUcast. You are the lifeblood of our little operation here, and a huge thank you to our insanely generous Illuminati tier patrons, Walter Kreisky III, Lieutenant Bongo, and Jazz Viz. You guys are amazing. If you'd like to see our beautiful faces, you can catch a video version of many of our episodes at youtube.com/strandedpanda. Love you 3000, my friends.